and welcome to the spring of 2026. My name is Dr. Haley Alcorn and I will be your instructor. This video is going to go over myself, my background, and we will also discuss the elephant in the room, which is really no longer an unnoticed thing. AI, we're going to talk about it. I am teaching two different classes this semester, so this video is for both of those. And when this video is over, you can then go into the orientation video specific to the course you are taking. But this video will work for any class of mine that you are enrolled in. So let's get started. Now, why is it important to get to know your instructor, even if that instructor is online? Or I should say, especially if that instructor is online. Well, study after study has shown that if you feel like your instructor is a real person and is a human being just like yourself, you're going to feel more comfortable asking questions, emailing them, reaching out in any sort of way to express confusion, concern, for anything that comes up. And communication between instructor and student is so important, especially in the online environment. So I want you to feel like I'm not just a computer. I am a person. Even though we're not going to meet face to face, it's important that you feel like you know me. So here's a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Lakeland. I am now living in Davenport, right by the new campus that is supposed to open in the fall. I am a You Stay Forever student of USF. When I went to USF the very first time, even prior to my orientation, it was like a day when prospective students could come and check out the campus. I was told in this big session that USF means you stay forever, and I just kind of laughed it off, but I ended up being proof of that. I got my bachelor's in 2009, and then I stuck around for my master's, and then I came back again for my PhD. So, and then after that, I taught there for a while. So I was at USF forever. I'm still connected in certain ways. It's a great school. I know a lot of Polk State students often transfer to USF, so can't say enough good things about it. Right now I live with my husband, our two kiddos, Elliot, who is 8, and Maddie, who just turned 6. And we have 3 dogs. Luigi, who's 15. I've had him since he was just a baby, had him for a long time. Rocky, aka Sir Escapes a Lot, digs out, and the other one, Shadow, aka Chaos Goblin, follows him, and they traverse the neighborhood. They're both huskies, so they do get out, and they're very mischievous. Life is always an adventure with them. My favorite restaurant is Olive Garden. I know if you're foodie or think highly of what you eat, you may think Olive Garden is just crap food, which, I mean, maybe it is, too salty, I don't know, but I like it. My husband and I met there on this weird blind date kind of thing, but I do love their food. And my most hated food is cilantro / sushi. Cilantro, I have that gene where it makes it taste like soap. Some people have that, and I guess I'm one of them because I can't eat it. What do I watch? Morbid documentaries. The more morbid, the better. True crime stuff. Family Feud, The Price is Right, The Handmaid's Tale, Stranger Things, and I like my reruns of The Office and The Big Bang Theory. More about me. Some little known things you might not normally ask about somebody. What I drive, Toyota Camry. What I'm reading, the latest in the Hunger Games series, Sunrise on the Reaping. I'm almost done with it. My phobias, we all have them, nothing to be ashamed of. I am mildly claustrophobic. And I have a severe, debilitating, crippling fear of a certain kind of bug, very common in Florida. They're brown. I don't even say the name. I can't bring myself to say the name because I'm just terrified of them. Luckily, we have really great pest control where I live. I like cleaning and decluttering. I get in these moods where I just wake up and I say, you know, today I'm throwing out half the stuff in my house. I love getting rid of stuff and decluttering, cleaning, trying to go for the minimal look, but that's not possible with 2 kids and all their crap. Taking naps, big fan of naps. What I dread, waking up early. I'm not a morning person at all, never have been. I don't think I ever will be. And being outside when it's hot, again, another thing not to have when you live in Florida, because it's always hot. Few months toward the end of the year, it's not, but I can't go outside when it's hot. I'm very heat sensitive, but also I just hate it. I hate the way it feels. My favorite weather is cool and rainy. I love the rain. I don't feel like it rains enough anymore. I swear when I was a kid, the age my children are now, it rained every day. It was so reliable. You knew it was coming. And now it just doesn't rain anymore. I don't get it. Guilty pleasure, conspiracy theory rabbit holes. Look, I'm not saying I believe in all of them. I am fascinated by some of the things I come across and very interested in what makes people believe some of these things. So I spend a lot of time, too much time, doom scrolling, but in between there, I'm on conspiracy theory subreddits and rabbit holes, just getting way too invested. So there's some fast facts about myself. Now, teaching background, also known as what makes me qualified to be your instructor, which I hope you will find me qualified and serving your needs well, your writing needs. Anyway, I taught literature and writing at USF, like I mentioned, here at Polk State, at HCC, and one semester at Northwest Florida State College up in the Panhandle area. It was a remote gig. I never actually went there in person. I started teaching here at Polk State in 2011, right off of my master's degree. And then I taught on and off here while I was in graduate school for my PhD. I took a break from Polk State when I taught, I taught a full-time the year before last year, and then I had some time away from Polk State, but not much. I've been here on and off pretty consistently since 2011. I finished my PhD in 2018 at USF. My dissertation is about animals in literature and how they inspire place attachment, or how animals are described as whether they're characters or important parts of the story that the characters interact with, how they inspire us to care about the environment, and how they, through storytelling, have contributed to how we feel about Florida places. I've taught face-to-face at the Lakeland campus, at Airside, and the Aerospace Academy. I taught some high schoolers there. And I have mostly been teaching asynchronous online since my son was born in 2017. So I do the online classes, and always looking for ways to make those kinds of classes more engaging and make you feel connected. So that's really important to me. My CV is in Canvas if you'd like to look that over for some more info. And here are some photos of people and pets I just talked about. I realized my little cameo's blocking Rocky's face down there, but this is my family this past Christmas, our Christmas card pictures. You can see Elliot and Maddie and my husband there. Also Elliot and Maddie for Halloween. Elliot has a strange obsession with the presidents, especially Abraham Lincoln, so that's what his Halloween costume was. And then down there at the bottom, there's Luigi, my 15-year-old baby, Rocky, and then Shadow. Rocky's half husky, so he doesn't quite look as full husky as Shadow, but there they are in all their glory. Now, that's some background on me. We need to talk about the AI thing. I was teaching online when AI first became prevalent in the classroom, and that first semester that it was around, I adopted the bury my head in the sand approach. I wasn't going to talk about it. I was just going to hope that it goes away. The opposite has happened, because instead of going away, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And every semester, I am having to change, like other instructors, having to change policies, change assignments, and work with what the previous semester has taught me in order to work around the AI thing. So AI is changing so many aspects of our life, education included. It is beneficial in several ways to several fields. I have a ChatGPT account. I ask it questions sometimes, not all the time. If it's something I can look up the traditional way, I will. But ChatGPT does have certain uses. I'm not anti-AI, but having been a college writing and reading instructor for a long time, I have certain feelings about it. And I'm sure my feelings about how it's applied in class are very different from some of your other professors. Some of your other professors in different fields are integrating AI into the classes and asking questions about ethical AI and teaching ethical ways to use AI, or ways that are morally supported and you can do it and people will agree that that's an acceptable use of AI. So in a writing class, what would ethical AI look like? To answer that question, let's start by thinking about the skills that a college composition class tries to teach. Communicating for a range of audiences and purposes, or gearing your writing to different people. Evaluating research and determining what sources are credible. Using critical thinking to analyze text, all kinds of texts, fictional texts, argumentative texts, journalism texts. Strengthening writing by drafting, revising, and reflecting on that process. And of course, mastering grammar, tone, and vocabulary. So these are the skills that you are in this class to learn. These are the skills that it's my job to teach you. And how do I do that? How do writing instructors teach these skills? It begins and ends with the writing process. And by the writing process, I mean the steps that you take to produce that final version. You move through pre-writing and drafting and revising and editing and publishing. Publishing just means turning the assignment in. And becoming a better writer, which is the reason you're here, involves getting feedback from me, learning how to improve, and then making changes into that final stronger version. Each step in this writing process is as equally important as the last one, and you must think your way through them. You have to use your brain to move through each stage. So using AI to replace one or more of these steps, even if it's just a small part of the writing process, or needless to say, the whole thing, that is inhibiting your ability to grow as a writer if you don't do all of these steps yourself, because writing starts with thinking. Writing is thinking. The two are interconnected in such a way that strengthening writing depends on strengthening your brain power and relying on critical thinking skills. College essays from, whatever you're going to write in this class to the kinds of research and writing you're going to do in upper level classes, like anything you read or pick out from a bookstore, Pulitzer Prize winning novel, let's say, these are not plopped out neatly in one go. They are not something that ChatGPT just barfs up. Good student writing has this in common with great literature. They are messy, stressful, and they push your thinking. Good writing, becoming a better writer, is not a simple process. It does not happen by typing a prompt in and receiving the product and then turning that in. That's not realistic. That has no real world benefit. Good writing is stressful. Good writing takes time, and it does require you to put in the work. The writing process is a two-way street. It relies on you doing your job so that I can do my job. My job is to assess your writing and provide instruction on how you're going to improve. So your job is to turn in authentic work that reflects your current skill level. My job is not to assess ChatGPT's writing. My job is to assess your skill level and what you need to do to get better. And I have always spent an exorbitant amount of time on individual writing because I know that every student is different. Every student has different needs. And it's very disheartening to know that I could be putting in that time and work on something the student didn't even write. So how are you going to learn what makes for an effective intro if you turn in what ChatGPT is writing each time? How will I know that you struggle with rules for commas if I see them placed perfectly in your writing each time? The point is, I'm not going to know what you struggle with, and you're not going to get any better at communication if you're not producing authentic work and doing the work yourself. So let's go back to those skills. How can AI be used ethically to learn these objectives? It can't. It can't. Which is why in this class, I don't allow AI to be used on any assignments or during any part of the writing process. And if you've been in classes where your professors do allow AI for certain things, that is going to seem really strict. But it's important to remember context. In a writing class, you're thinking through these stages. And skipping any part of them is going to limit your ability to get better. Can't use AI during pre-writing because you need to be able to come up with ideas. You need to know how to do that and get started. Not in drafting because you have to know how to translate those ideas on paper from your head. You have to know how to pull them out of your head and put them in writing. And not in the revising process because you need to be able to use feedback to make your writing better. This step is really where that learning happens, and not in the editing stage, because you should be able to proofread and polish your writing you should know correct grammar and correct sentence structure and correct spelling and mechanics and be able to fix your writing to be professional. And not in publishing, because again, that's just submitting the assignment. All of these stages are so important for getting the most out of this course that you're paying for, one way or another. So this is from the syllabus. This is the syllabus policy on AI. The use of any AI software or website, including Grammarly, to write or edit any assignments, blah, 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 is strictly prohibited. AI right now is grouped in with the plagiarism policy. So like other papers that you'll turn in, your writing will be checked for plagiarism and AI. I know that there is a wide skepticism about the reliability of Turnitin to detect AI, but I promise I have been investigating it for quite a while, and I know what a false high positive score looks like when I compare it to writing, because I know what college writing sounds like. I've been teaching this class for a long time. So I have my own set of red flags that I look for. And you should know coming into this class that the college supports enforcing our AI policy, which is to give a 0 on the assignment, at the very least, a 0, not to mention potential disciplinary action or on if you use it multiple times, getting kicked out of the course. The college will support giving a 0 on assignments based just on that Turnitin score alone. Clearly, typing up an assignment prompt into ChatGPT and turning in what it gives you, that's obviously unethical. No one's going to argue with that. But doing the writing yourself and then just running it through an AI like Grammarly might seem less unethical, but it's equally problematic in a writing class, because what I then get is not an accurate reflection of your skill level. And I will tell you now that almost every single student that I have had to accuse of using AI says, oh, I did it myself. I just used Grammarly to edit it, or I just used AI for changing my word choice and making it sound better. That is still not allowed in the class. That is still grounds for getting a 0 on the assignment. Like I said, you need to know how to use resources to help your writing yourself and not just plunking it into Grammarly and having it fix it for you. That's why in this class we do things like grammar exercises, vocabulary exercises. It's your responsibility to know that when you submit it and you tell Turnitin that it's your work, that you are telling the truth. I had a student last semester who got a very high AI score, and so I communicated with her, and she said she had a friend help her with the paper, and if that friend used AI, it was news to her. And she said it as if that excused the AI, as if she shouldn't be held responsible. And that's just not the case. She got a 0. I think she ended up getting a D in the class. Folks, you need to know that what you turn in will be judged wholly on your account. You are accountable for what you submit, and you are responsible for knowing that AI is not allowed. So, like I said, this policy may seem strict, but you can't become a better writer if you don't put in the work, and that's my job, is to help you make you a better writer. And why should you want to be a better writer? I know some of you are sitting there thinking, this class doesn't matter. I'm not going to use AI for what really matters to my career. I'm just going to use it to get through this class. Look, I get it. A lot of you are here to fulfill that gen ed requirement rather than because you believe in the importance of writing and you genuinely want to hone your skills. I get that. You may think that you will not need to learn from this class in order to be successful in your desired career. However, there's a reason composition classes are required. I want you to really think about this. If a class was not going to be important to most students as they progress through college or into their careers, why would it be required? Why would it be a gen ed requirement? College writing is important because your future professors and those hiring committees are going to expect excellent communication. If you did a job search right now, no matter the platform, and you look for the qualifying criteria for the candidates, in there it's going to say excellent communication skills. Guaranteed. These jobs that require a degree, require some college coursework, they want you to be able to communicate effectively. Putting it this way, this is also from the syllabus. Picture that company that you want to work for, okay? You graduate. They have a job opening, and they've narrowed it down to 2 candidates with equally impressive resumes. So they interview each one. And in that interview process, it becomes really clear that one of those candidates has more advanced communication than the other. One of them is the better communicator. And that's not something you can fake in a one-on-one setting through ChatGPT. You're going to be there in the room with them, making eye contact, and you have to respond to these questions. So being able to answer those questions effectively and verbalize your opinions, your beliefs, what you would do in certain situations, that is what can make you stand out. And getting better at those kinds of things is something offered by writing classes. My job is to teach you best practices for writing, for communicating, helping you find and refine your distinct written voice. If you're relying on AI instead of doing the work yourself, you're neglecting the opportunities of this class. So there's one reason, that's just one reason why AI is not a good thing in the writing class. If you're not convinced that it's a bad idea, and you think that you're the exception, that you know how to get away with using it, it's kind of like how you don't think that texting, and some people don't think that texting while driving is dangerous for them because they know how to do it smartly and they don't have accidents. And well, one day or another, probably you'll get too confident and careless. And anyway, this next part is for you if you think you are the exception. Let me tell you now about 3 semesters. Tale of 3 semesters. Why am I going into this? Well, I have some data for you that you might find interesting. I want to look at the fall of 2021, the spring of 2022, and then last semester, the fall of 25. I chose 2 semesters before the fall of 25 because these were pretty normal, on par semesters for me, and this was before AI became rampant in the classroom. So in the fall of 21, I had 72 students enrolled, 58 participating. That's an 80% participation rate. And the participation rate means the students who actively turned in most of their work from beginning to end. Some of the students I stopped hearing from a few weeks into the semester, and they just they either withdraw or they ghost me, and they're just their names in the grade book. That's it. So that was the percentage there was pretty similar from 2021 to 2022. And then you can look at the fall of 25 and see that participation rate go down quite significantly. And I think this has to do with a lot of students who I busted for AI, and they realized that they're not going to get away with it, that they can't use it in this class, and then they just stopped turning things in. And very few of them actually withdrawed from the class. They just stopped doing the work. So that was already a really high percentage compared to previous semesters. Now, look at these final averages. Pretty similar, 2021 to 2022. We had 19% A's, 24% B's, big percentage of C's, and then the D's and the F's, and that was very similar in the spring. And the Essay 3 grades, which I'll mention in a minute. But now I'm going to show you the final averages for fall of 2025, this last semester. You can see this already looks different. Colors already look different. We've got a higher percentage of C grades and a staggeringly higher amount of F's and D's. So you can see that lots of kids probably thought they were the exception, that they were going to use AI smartly and get away with it and not get caught. And maybe for a few of them they skated by, but these grades are because of all the AI that I busted and all the zeros I gave out. But here's something even more alarming. Look at these Essay 3 grades on the bottom now. This is the last essay, aside from the research paper, that gets turned in. 2021, 2022, pretty similar. Lots of A's. That's a good thing. Lots of students have learned by the time they get to the third essay, and they're doing pretty well. Very, small percentage of F's, but can't get away from that entirely. But notice that I'm going to show you now this last graph. The AI papers have been removed from this data. I took it out. I'm going to show you now. These percentages do not include papers that got zeros for AI use. These percentages are students who did the work themselves, as far as I could tell. Still, a large growth in C's and F's and D's. That's really alarming because what it implies is this support of something I've been reading more and more, which is that using AI a few times just to write portions of a paper is enough to dramatically lower your brain power. Now, I assume that a lot of these students, even if I took the AI ones out, had been using ChatGPT for other things. They had been using AI in general. And I could very much see that the quality of work I was getting was so much lower than in the past. More and more often, I'm seeing that using AI is making people dumber. And I've highlighted for you just part of one study. This study looked at brain waves and brain power within an AI group, a do-it-yourself group, and one other group. So brain-only participants exhibited the strongest, most distributed networks of brain activity. Oh, the second group was the search engine, so the people who use traditional technology, moderate engagement with the brain networks, and then the language model, the AI users displayed weakest brain power. And then further down, over the study time, the AI users consistently underperformed at neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels. These results raise concerns about the long-term educational implications of AI and underscore the need for deeper inquiry or deeper understanding of AI's role in how we learn. So that's just alarming. So if you care about your brain power and you want to be smarter, do the work yourself. Okay, moving on. If you're still not convinced, let me show you a few more reasons that might appeal to you that you may not have heard about. AI is having very significant environmental impacts, starting with water. AI data centers. So you need data centers and computers and all this equipment to run programs like ChatGPT. They use a lot of water and electricity for things like cooling their equipment and running the facility. So as AI is continuing to grow, so is that demand for bigger data centers and more water, which can strain local access to water, local supplies of fresh water. According to this one article I read, large data centers can consume up to 5 million gallons a day, equivalent to the water use of a town populated by 10,000 to 50,000 people. Now, you might be reading this and thinking, I'm just one student. Me using ChatGPT isn't going to affect anything. Well, yes, one student using it is a drop in the bucket. But there are 19 million students enrolled in college across the US. And if just half of them use AI for an essay 3 times a semester, that's 28.5 million drops in the bucket. One of the more recent studies I read showed that in 2025, the rate that we were on track to consume bottled water was equal to the amount of water used in AI data centers worldwide. I want to say that was a worldwide study. So it's AI in 2025 used as much water that we consume globally in the bottled form. And finally, not just water, but pollution and public health. So some of you might have heard of the very enormous, largest supercomputer in the world built by Elon Musk in 2024 in Memphis. He nicknamed it the Colossus, and it runs on methane gas turbines. These turbines emit nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide is very harmful for respiratory conditions. It can aggravate or worsen asthma, COPD, things like that. And the health effects of having this giant supercomputer in and around or in Memphis has I lost where my sentence started. The health problems experienced mostly in respiratory form by the people living in and around Memphis since Colossus was built have skyrocketed. And you can look this up. I'm not making this up. I'm not a crazy college hippie professor making stuff up. These are documented cases of respiratory illness that have dramatically spiked since this Colossus was built and since it's infusing the air with nitrogen dioxide. And I'm talking some worse stuff than this. Cancer rates too. I mean, really awful diseases and conditions are are increasing in this area. So Memphis residents have been fighting back. They have criticized what Elon Musk's brand of AI is called XAI for what they say the company is doing, which is skipping over the required permits, cutting corners of building these data centers, and downplaying the risks of the nitrogen dioxide. And so you have some representatives who are leading rallies against the supercomputer and against what he's trying to build now, which is another supercomputer nearby, which he says will be twice as large as Colossus. And he's doing this to power the XAI thing, Grok, formerly on what is formerly known as Twitter. Elon Musk wants to be the largest supplier of AI with the largest amount of knowledge and power and whatever. So to do this, we need the data. We need data centers. We need water. And I say we, but the AI data centers then pollute the air, and the residents in and around those areas are feeling the effects. So this is a very relevant and ongoing current issue that I'm sure by the time you're seeing this video, or even a few weeks or months into the semester, we're going to be hearing about this. And these are just some of the reasons I can think of to dissuade you from using AI, if not in your daily life, then at least in this writing classroom, because again, it's very important that I see your current skill level and that I am responding to your authentic work so that I can do my job. So that is the end of this video that's about me and about AI. And now that I've spent a lot of time talking about it, I feel justified in sending you on your way as you get started, knowing that there really is no excuse now for either questioning why you can't use it or questioning how you can use it, because it's a no-go. It's a zero tolerance policy in this class for using it. But I did feel that you were owed an explanation, because I'm sure you can use it in some of your other classes. So I wanted to be clear about my reasons for not having it in this classroom. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys throughout this semester.